If you're celebrating a special occasion or just love fine dining, you're in the right place. Come experience the crown jewel of South Point restaurants, Michael's Gourmet Room.
Welcome.
With over 600 different types of wines and magnificent dishes prepared tableside, you'll revel in the rich classic Vegas decor and the best black tie service in the world. This intimate gourmet room has earned accolades galore. Come to Michael's Gourmet Room for an unforgettable dining experience. Another famous restaurant is the Silverado Steakhouse, where you'll find the charm and service that discerning patrons require. From top quality steaks and chops to fresh seafood and desserts, you'll love the award-winning wine list and menu at Silverado Steakhouse. Steak lovers have even more options with
And welcome in, everybody, to another fantastic episode of Gaughan Racin. Jeff Motley, this could be an epic show.
Every show has a chance to be epic with us and the crew we got behind the glass.
And the pit crew behind the glass. But of course, this one just happens to be more epic because, God, sometimes the stories behind the scenes are even more fun than the stories in front of the camera.
Well, that's kind of like a typical day in the NASCAR garage.
Yes, it is. Welcome in, Brendan Gaughan.
Is it silly season? We having silly season?
We got silly seasons all over the place. Brendan Gaughan, Jeff Motley. We're here at Gaughan Racin in the fabulous South Point studio. We might even have some news of some sponsors maybe in the upcoming week. So maybe we might have some sponsorship, cool studio / Gaughan Racin
some new
sponsorship.
places to hear and see us potentially.
That's right, and some new places potentially. That's right. Of course,
spreading our wings a little bit.
Trying to, but SiriusXM, of course, is our favorite. Well, sorry, the Gaughan Racing YouTube channel is the favorite. Then SiriusXM is second favorite, and those sorts of things. And it's fun right now. We have Jerry kind of tiptoeing around the back of the set, and I got to call him out because it's more fun. He wants to pull something. There you go. We could have done that for you too, Jerry. We're all good. I love it. Hey, and Ann went to the one shot right before then, looking at me, trying to get Jerry off. But we're going to rat you out anyway because you know why? Because we're professionally unprofessional, and it's fun like that.
There we go.
All right, let's get to what we're supposed to talk about.
Some racing.
Atlanta Motor Speedway, Jeff, as usual, Atlanta in this new configuration. Absolutely amazing race. Absolutely. The finish, I'll tell you what, if that finish ran to the line, that could have been even more epic. We could be right now talking about Carson Hocevar winning his first race. Instead, Christopher Bell, the Toyotas looked like dog poo-poo all day long, nowhere near the front, not even talking about him. Penske's dominate, Chevy's up there, and at the end, C-Bell by half a car length.
Yeah, and I think that it was funny. Last week's show, we were really poo-pooing the Toyotas. Like, we went through every group.
You could have poo-pooed them the whole race.
Right, and then they were plus 300, after taking them at that big odd to win at Daytona, and they did nothing, and then they come to Atlanta. And it wasn't as if they were poor. I mean, Bubba Wallace ran strong all day long. Some of the other Gibbs cars probably weren't quite as strong, but a great run for Christopher Bell. He also found himself in the right place at the right time. You're right, Hocevar had great momentum, and Kyle Larson. I mean, we had a very good possibility of having the three cars come across the line just like we did last spring when we had Kyle Busch and Daniel Suarez and Ryan Blaney. But unfortunately, we had the crash with Josh Berry right behind him. And in this case, there's a lot of controversy about but look, they had to throw
every time they have one of these, you got some fans saying, black helicopter, some fans saying silver helicopter. In the end, NASCAR will always err on the side of caution and protecting the driver. Now, they didn't back when we used to race back to the caution.
And they really didn't do it the week before at Daytona, and they didn't do it the day before an Xfinity race. And I think that was some of the discussion. But look, I think it's pretty simple. If the 32nd and 33rd place guy crash,
they run this baby to the finish.
We're running to the finish. But when the 5th place guy is crashing and there's debris on the racetrack, and you really want the guy in 15th or 20th to be racing through that debris field, I mean, that's not even smart.
If you remember, I've been racing a long time. Do you remember the days we used to race back to the caution?
Oh, I remember. In fact, I remember the race.
Michael Waltrip
at New Hampshire.
Michael Waltrip ran a whole, full throttle through. I remember being a guy that was spun, sitting there going, "Oh dear God, please, 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 nobody get me." That was one of the scariest things we used to do was that. So
And remember, that's how guys used to get their lap back because somebody would let them go. But Dale Jarrett was sitting broadsides in the middle of the track at New Hampshire, and Jeremy Mayfield is trying to keep a guy a lap down, and they literally come by Dale Jarrett at full
speed.
song.
Full speed.
And I think that's when NASCAR said, this probably isn't the best idea.
There was some stuff, like I said, it's terrible. But in the end, still a great finish. 3 wide for the finish, even though it wasn't at the checkered flag. Carson Hocevar, career best finish. Kyle Larson, I think that might be his career best finish on a super speedway.
If it wasn't his best finish, it was his best run.
Yes.
It was a great run for him.
Blaney, Penske, strong and dominated, but not enough there. The odds to win, though, we had Christopher Bell was your winner. He was 15-1 to win that race, but everybody was triple digit. So, I mean, we were double digit. Sorry, we knew that was going to happen. Plus 550, top 3. Versus Kez, he was minus 110. Versus Hamlin, minus 110. Group B, he was the winner at plus 260. And, of course, you talked at the start of the show, Toyota, plus 300. So, a good return on a lot of those things. In the top 10, first, let's talk about the odds. Carson Hocevar, 28-1. Huge. We didn't even talk about him.
No, we did not.
As one to have. And Kyle Larson, plus 500. A good return on a guy that is the perennial, in my opinion, the greatest race car driver of the era right now. Plus 500. That was good. But look at these top 10s. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. coming from the back with a good, strong run with that Hayek racing team. Kyle Busch with a good, strong run. Kyle Busch looked like he was going to win that race for a minute. Ross Chastain, we said how great he's been here. Another one. Bubba Wallace, you said strong run all day. And how about 2 top 10s in a row?
John Hunter Nemechek's flying
for the
high
Legacy
right
Motor
now.
Club right now. So Legacy with a decent start to the season.
Yeah, I tell you, really happy for John Hunter to get back to top 5 at Daytona, gets a top 10 here at Atlanta. I mean, and that's a case where, okay, look, everybody's going to say it's Daytona, it's Atlanta, but here's the deal now. He's got 2 really good, solid finishes. Mm-hmm. Now, he just needs to go.
Takes pressure off.
It does, and now he just needs to go be consistent. Does he have to go run 5th every week now?
Nope.
No, but you want to go out and run 15th every week?
It's going to help you.
And it's
them 2 solid top 10s are going to help you there.
Absolutely. So I think the fact that so many guys sometimes get so far behind at Daytona and at Atlanta, and a guy like John Hunter Nemechek is looking down at a whole lot of people.
If you remember years ago, Paul Menard used to be the king of this. Paul Menard would have a great start to the season, and Paul at Richard Childress Racing, they weren't all that strong back in those days. But he would come out at Daytona, have a great run, have a couple good runs to start the season, and then he was hanging at that 14th, 15th because you had that good start to give you those points. So that helps. John Hunter just took a ton of pressure off.
No question, no question. Very happy for that team and John Hunter, and just nice for him to be up there and be able to look down at a lot of guys right now.
Well, yeah, and if you talk about how points are sitting and stuff like that, way too early to talk, but it does give you that breathing room as the season. You get a bad run, that's okay. You got a couple good ones. Minimize those mistakes. John Hunter, and I am a huge John Hunter fan. I'm a big believer in John Hunter as just he's a smart kid.
And he's a good kid. I'm going to tell you a quick little John Hunter story, and I've always been endeared to him because of this. So when he was running in the truck series, we had a full field driver autograph session that we actually did out in the midway behind the main grandstand. And the only driver who did not make it to the autograph session was John Hunter Nemechek. And so I get a call and said, well, we got all the drivers but one. We don't have John Hunter Nemechek. And I'm like, well, I don't know where he is, but I don't have time to go deal with it, right? I don't know what's going on. I'm not kidding you. An hour and a half later, he walks into my office and apologizes himself for missing the autograph session. I've never had a driver apologize for missing an autograph session.
Because I never missed
you never miss one. But trust me, there are guys who just flat out don't even want to be there. But he actually took it upon himself to come in and apologize for missing that. And from that day forward, I said, you know what? That kid's all right. Man, I always liked his dad, too.
Well,
I mean, Joe was
his
one
dad,
of the great
his
guys.
uncle. I called his first win. I was actually doing TV for his first win in ARCA, and it was a huge deal to me because, John Hunter named after, his late uncle, and it was a big deal for me to call that race because Joe and the whole family, they're great people, and John Hunter is there, and now he's 8th in points, which, to our point, now he has a little breathing room off. So it's not a bad start for John Hunter. We'll take that. I'll be
looking at the upcoming schedule, he might need the breathing room.
There you go. That's where we're going next. Talk about the start of the season. This has been so much fun, Jeff. We talked about it last week. You had the 2 super speedways. Now, hey, we're getting ready to come out to Phoenix and Vegas and Cal. Wait, no, we're not. We are heading to Texas. to the Circuit of the Americas, the EchoPark Texas Grand Prix, one of your places, of course, which pretty amazing, really, if you look at where this came from on the schedule. I think that's super cool. Then after that, we go to Phoenix for the, what's it called now? The Shriners Children's 500, which is down at Phoenix. A little different. Normally we come from Vegas to Phoenix. This year, Phoenix to Vegas. Then the Pennzoil 400 out at Las Vegas. Then out, talk about the poor truck drivers. Then straight Talk Wireless 400 out to Homestead Miami Speedway. That is a long haul.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people are going to say, okay, guess what? After this week at Austin, the season starts. For some people, they're going to say, okay, look, but actually, if you're one of those guys who, let's say you're, a Brad Keselowski, okay, who is like the last thing he wants is to see a big upset at Daytona or Atlanta. Well, the fact that we had winners at Daytona and Atlanta that were not huge upsets, that's actually good for the established guys.
Yes, it is.
Right? Because that's another spot right now that didn't get taken up. Austin is kind of in that range because, look, I think we all know Shane Van Gisbergen.
SVG look, there's some guys here, and we got some great finishes. We have a Coda track record now. We got 3 races here, so that gives us enough data points.
We have 0 on this layout that we're going to run this week.
Well, that's true, but it's still the same turn 1. That same.
Except you have to go through it 98 times instead of 65, or 95 times instead of 68.
That's part of what you're looking for, right? You want more of an aggressive deal. But there's guys, look at some of these guys. Ross Chastain, 3 races, 3 top 5s. That's pretty bad to the bone right there.
In fact, he won the inaugural race. No, second race. I'm sorry, it was
second
the
race.
first one we had the rain. It was just Chase Elliott won in the rain.
And you got a lot of guys. Tyler Reddick has 3 top 10s, but William Byron 2 top 5s. Alex Bowman 3 top 5s. And there's some guys here that have some great runs. And we haven't even mentioned SVG, who's not on the graphic that you have if you're watching the Gaughan Racing YouTube channel. There is some great numbers here on guys with high average finishes that, you know what, we might be talking about quite a bit.
I'm cracking up on the graphic because we got 3 guys with 4 top 10s. We only run 3 races.
Yeah, it's okay. They might have messed that one up a little bit. But it's still, we have a lot of guys that are very, very strong here at Coda, and there's actually been 4 races. They had that incorrect. It's been 4.
It's the races, not the top 10s.
Yes. But there's been 4 races also, not 3.
4 races? Who?
Yeah.
Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain. Who are all our winners? I'm trying to remember.
Chase Elliott, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain.
There we go.
Gotcha.
Right.
4 races.
This is our 5th.
We're professionally unprofessional.
Yep.
We're good at this.
Absolutely.
We're good at what we do. We stayed at Holiday Inn Express last night. We're good. Well, I guess we're at the South Point. We didn't really stay at Holiday Inn Express, but
I was going to say, we got to defend your own.
I got to defend our own.
Come on now.
Got to defend our own. Okay. So we got some guys with some great average finishes. We got some guys that run really well here. We didn't even mention Shane Van Gisbergen on that. And when we come back,
we're going to talk about a guy that's going to make his Cup Series debut this weekend.
We're going to talk about old SVG because SVG foreshadowing might be somewhere near the top of this list. Shocker, I know. And we're going to talk about a kid we've never talked about in the Cup Series who's coming in. Jeff, I think maybe a little overrated, but maybe not. Find out when we come back in a couple minutes.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
And as usual, our favorite producer / boss of everything extraordinaire, and with a great count-in, welcome back, Gaughan Racin, Jeff Motley, Brendan Gaughan. We have got done with Atlanta, and we are on to everything that is now COTA. And Jeff, we foreshadowed this. Can you believe? Shocker! Breaking news: our favorite to win the race.
Oh, without question, Shane Van Gisbergen was going to be our favorite because there's a reason I picked him to be one of the 16 guys that make it into the playoffs.
I got a question, Jeff. A couple years ago, some guy named SVG came on the scene, showed up at a little race called the Chicago Street Course, and nobody had heard of him.
Yeah, we all met him the week before and at Nashville. They brought him to Nashville. I was actually working that race in Nashville and brought this guy in and said, yeah, he's going to make his debut.
I got a question. There's a show called Gaughan Racin that was going on back then. I don't know if you knew this. Mm-hmm. Didn't somebody on that show, pick Shane Van Gisbergen for a top 3 that day?
Did you do that? Is this a pat on your back?
I mean, I'm sure I could get the pit crew to go back a couple years and find the tape because, it's all digital now. And everybody went, what? And I said, V8 supercars. Don't sleep on this guy. Did he win that race?
In fact, he probably should have won it again last year.
He actually had it won last year. So let's get to the odds, Mr. Motley. The favorite, Shane Van Gisbergen,
really?
plus 500.
Really? Shocker.
And Tyler Reddick, which does not shock me. But let me tell you about what does shock me. The third favorite in his Cup debut for Trackhouse Motorsports.
18 years old, right?
18-year-old Connor Zilich, plus 700. We're going to talk more about him. Let me get the odds, and we'll come back to
now,
him.
I would like to, I'd be curious. Has a driver ever won his Xfinity debut and his Cup debut? Because he won his Xfinity debut at Watkins Glen driving for JR Motorsports just last year.
Well, William Byron is plus 800. Christopher Bell is plus 800. Kyle Larson 10-1. Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain 12. Ty Gibbs 15. AJ Allmendinger 18. Alex Bowman 20. Chris Buescher 25. These odds, of course, are here at the South Point of the odds to win. Now, Connor Zilich is a heck of a road racer. A heck of from what I understand, I've not personally met him, but I've talked to a lot of people about him. Pretty nice young man. But when he's shown up, he has shown up ready to play.
Well, and keep in mind, he's going to be driving for Trackhouse Racing. So let's see. Ross Chastain's got to win at Austin for Trackhouse Racing. Shane Van Gisbergen's got to win at Chicago for Trackhouse Racing.
And one of the
Daniel Suarez has got to win at Sonoma for Trackhouse Racing. And by the way, I think their team owner is actually a pretty good road racer in his own right. Justin Marks has had his moments racing. So, look, quality of equipment is going to be there.
Bing.
Quality of driver is going to be there. The
Bing.
only thing he's lacking is experience, and that's experience with the guys he's racing against, and
this car.
And this car.
But see, you and I were talking off air, Jeff. This car to me, if you told me the old days from an Xfinity car to now this car, totally different, diabolically different. Old school NASCAR, the new school Cup car, sequential shifters, big brakes, big tires, more grip, more downforce, all these things that make this new car hotter inside it, less air flowing. But Connor comes from a background of sports car racing, which guess what sports car have? They have sequential shifters. They have bigger brakes, bigger tire, better grip. They have better downforce. Connor comes with this experience.
He ran the 24 hours of Daytona.
He ran the 24 hours of Daytona. Do I think, though, he's going to come and do what SVG did? I don't think he's quite SVG seasoned, let's just say. SVG came in with a lot of seasoning underneath his belt. Connor, not quite as much. I do believe he's good. Do I believe he's going to be a plus 700 to win? Maybe not that much, but I do think that when we get to top threes, we might talk about him.
Yeah, one thing about SVG, I mean, I think that a lot of times you're new into the sport and the other guys aren't going to cut you any slack and cut you a break or anything like that. SVG, when he won that race in Chicago, he qualified up front, he ran up front, and guess what? Nobody could catch him. In fact,
when it rained, he was gone.
And I remember Kyle Larson saying, I just wanted to follow him because it made him, Kyle Larson said it made him a better road racer to follow SVG.
And let's talk about Kyle Larson, one of our best road racers right now in the sport. He's 10-1. So I don't dislike that. Chase Elliott, who was the best road racer for a few years, 12-1. Ross Chastain, who's won here, 12. How about we're not even talking about AJ Allmendinger? Before SVG, we talked about AJ. And here's AJ Allmendinger at 18-1 at this track.
And another guy that's 25-1 is a guy that's been sneaky good on road courses suddenly the last couple of years, Chris Buescher.
No, the guy, I'm going back, Chris Buescher is the guy that has absolutely been phenomenal. Best average finish on road races the last bunch of years. I mean,
the guy who won in Chicago last year, he's 20-1.
Chris Buescher, 8 top 10s in the last 10 road races with a win. Average finish 7.2, leaps and bounds above the field minus SVG.
Yeah, and we haven't even gotten to some guys that have road course wins in the Cup Series.
Let's go down to the second page to get to those guys. Michael McDowell starts this off at 25-1. Chase Briscoe with a ton of road experience, 28-1. Austin Cindric, 30-1. Kyle Busch, 30-1. Daniel Suarez, a former winner on road courses, 35-1. Ryan Blaney, 50. Denny Hamlin, 60. Joey Logano, 60. Carson Hocevar, 200. And the field, 20-1. I'm not a fan of the field bet this week, but I am a fan of Daniel Suarez, 35, Austin Cindric, 30. My God, Jeff, there are some guys here that can flat out drive road courses.
Well, and I think that's the thing that strikes me is the number on these odds. I mean, when I look at the odds, there is a big return. And look, let's face it, there's probably 5 or 6 guys really capable probably of winning this race, and a lot of them have double-digit odds right now.
Look, you're telling me Denny Hamlin, it's Denny Hamlin, okay, but how many times are we going to see Denny Hamlin on the second page of one of our odds at 60-1? You know, that's like, wait, Denny Hamlin's, wait, we just went to the second page to the last column and we got Denny Hamlin 60-1.
And Joey Logano's right with him at 60-1.
These are Joey's a champion of the sport. I mean, Ryan Blaney 50-1. Ryan Blaney is not a bad road racer. Ryan Blaney, if I go to road racing,
he won the first Roval race at Charlotte. Now, granted, I know that Truex and Jimmy Johnson had something to do with it, but hey, guess what? He had to be in position.
He was in, and we talked about it that day that he was in position. Ryan Blaney at COTA, 4 races, average finish 14. Still, it's Ryan Blaney. He's been dominating the last couple of races. I mean, there's some guys here that just
I do think, and I know you and I talked a little bit off air about this shortened course. It's going to be they're going to run 95 laps. Last year they ran 68 laps, which means they're going to have to go through every one of those turns 27 more times. I do believe the really true
the elite
good
guys,
road racers are going to rise to the top because it's going to be a very technical race.
All they took out, just for the folks at home, what they took out basically, they didn't shorten the number of turns. Still the same number of turns.
Correct.
They just, instead of going all the way down, I can't remember what turn number it is. I apologize.
It's in Houston, I believe.
I don't know. I don't
San
know
Antonio, where that turn
well.
is. It's so far away.
But you basically, instead of going all the way down the second longest straightaway and made the turn to the longest straightaway,
a hairpin to that almost a mile long straightaway.
They just added a turn early and then a sharper turn back, and you don't run the long straightaway.
2 quick lefts with a little short shoot in between.
So you basically just shortened up the one long straightaway. You still have the same number of passing zones, but now you have to run them 1.5 more times, basically 98 versus 60 or 90 whatever versus 60.
I think last year was 68 laps. This year it's going to be a 95 lap race, and we know how treacherous turn 1 is.
You got to
you got to go 98 times through turn 1.
Bingo. Let's get to the top 3, and these now come from DraftKings, and you kick off SVG, still your favorite at plus 150. There's that Connor Zilic plus 190, Tyler Reddick plus 200, William Byron 220, Kyle Larson 260, Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott both 330, the Dinger 350. You got Ross Chastain at 400, Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman 6, Kyle Busch 650, Daniel Suarez, Chris Buescher 700, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe at 800. I'm going to say the same names we just said a second ago and say, wow, I just gave you stats before the show. Alex Bowman, 4 races, 4 top 10s. And you're telling me I can get Alex Bowman, average finish 4.3, Alex Bowman. I can get him at plus 600?
Yeah, and I'm going to bring up the same name I brought up on the previous segment too, and that's Chris Buescher. He hasn't won one of these road course races, but he has certainly been in the top 3 on several of those, and he's getting a great number there at plus 700 as well. I think he's a guy that's on the top side of that board. I think he's got a great number, and I think we get to the bottom side of the board. I think there's a couple of pretty cool numbers there too.
Ross Chastain 4.0. Alex Bowman 4.3 average finish. I can get Ross Chastain for plus 400 and Alex Bowman plus 600. That's pretty darn good right there. Let's get to that second half. The second half of that board, it starts off with, where am I at here? Here I'm Austin Cindric and Ryan Blaney at plus 800. Michael McDowell, Joey Logano 10. Carson Hocevar 22. Cole Custer, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, Zane Smith all at 28. Todd Gilligan at 30. Justin Haley at 40. Noah Gragson, Josh Berry at 50. John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Dillon both at 50. And, of course, Riley Herbst 70-1.
There's one name there that has a huge number by his name, and I'm like, you know what? If he came in and finished third, I just would not be shocked.
And that is?
Justin Haley. Because he's one of those guys, we've seen it at like Pocono.
He's the guy that we don't talk about him for half the season, then all of a sudden, hey, look, Justin Haley's second.
Right.
Wait, where'd this come from?
And he's not a horrible road racer. He's not horrible at all. And again, I'm talking about somebody that's got a huge number by their name, and I'm not sitting here saying, I think he's going to finish in the top 3. I'm just saying if you're looking for a long shot, a guy that could surprise you, he tends to find himself in a good spot a lot of times.
I mean, he does. He puts himself in places. I'm just looking at his history road racing. 5th place Charlotte Road Course a couple years ago. He's got one in there, but
I mean, you usually don't luck into top 5s on road courses.
You run pretty well. I mean, I look at this and just say Carson Hocevar has been hot everywhere. You're looking for a long number to me. I'm not even going to look at stats for Hocevar. I'm just going to say this kid has shown up to play the last couple of years. So I like Hocevar. But you're giving me McDowell at 10-1, Cindric and Blaney at 800s. I mean, there's some numbers here that definitely are worth looking into.
Well, and I think that's one of the big things is that there is some value on the second end of this board. And you also never know going into turn 1 when you get some big old pile up late in the race.
All right. We'll be back in a minute.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, 777s, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome back to Gaughan Racing. For those that are listening on Sirius XM, you miss half the fun.
Just want to let everybody know that when Brendan was playing basketball, if he was trying to take a last-second shot, he would have done it with a minute on the clock.
Yeah.
That's the reason that...
Sirius XM Maz, guys there, I love you. How you put up with us, I have no clue. We're having... Listen, it's a day at the South Point studio, okay? We need... Yeah. Goose Fraba. We have a little little Zen trying to go on.
Well, you are about to turn 50. That's why you couldn't read the difference between a 55 and a 56 on the paper. Your eyes are going bad.
I will not disagree that he just said I read the line wrong. I did rush
and
us out.
people who don't really know what we're talking about, our last segment was a minute short.
Yeah.
Because Brendan just ended it a minute
And now
early.
we're trying to like do math and figure things out, and it becomes physics and calculus. And
if you're not watching and you're only listening, I was getting the big bug eyes, like, why are you keeping on talking? I'm like, because we got another minute to go. And so anyway.
Okay, well.
Professionally unprofessional.
Yes, we are. So we rushed out a little bit there as we were talking about the end of that. And
now we got an extra minute in this segment, right?
We don't know if we have an extra minute or not. So
we're going to take an extra minute.
In a second, Ann's going to yell things, and they'll put like something up in the glass. If you've seen the South Point studio, we got the hockey glass over there. They'll stick a little piece of glass up there and say, we're going to talk till this time. And one thing you and I do not struggle to do, talk.
If I keep giving you grief, you're going to check me into those boards probably. So
let's get to head-to-heads, Mr. Motley, since I booted it on the top threes. And just so you know, the last couple weeks we've had Super Speedway at Daytona, Super Speedway at Atlanta. What do you and I talk about with head-to-heads at those two places?
Not much.
And a lot. They've been kind of bupkis. This week, lot of fun head-to-heads. And names, once again, the newcomer has himself into a head-to-head right off the bat. Westgate jumping in with both feet. Love that they're doing that. There is some great head-to-heads here. And I got to tell you, I'm a fan of quite a few of these. Right off the bat, you kick this off. Tyler Reddick at plus 110 to SVG minus 130. Look, SVG's the favorite. I get it. But Tyler Reddick has proven a lot of chops at this course.
Yeah, he absolutely has. And Tyler Reddick is just a terrific, terrific road course racer as well.
7 top 10s, 3 top 5s, 1 win. Last 10 road courses, not just here.
And we've talked about Connor Zilic. He's getting a couple of 120s against Ross Chastain and Christopher Bell. Now, odds to win and odds to top 3, he's getting better numbers, and yet he's on the plus side against these guys. But I tell you one, I kind of like up there. I'm not sure I'm going to take it, but I like it. Chris Buescher getting a plus 110 on A.J. Allmendinger. I know Dinger, but, Dinger's road course racing has not been quite as good over the last year or so.
It definitely has. He definitely faded a little bit on that. So I do look at that and go, that's not half bad. There are some good numbers here. Do we go on the Dinger? Do you go on Chris Buescher? I mean, Chris Buescher, remember, what did we talk about for years on this show? Chris Buescher cashes tickets. Now, ever since then, he there it is. Okay, yeah. We got the board, by the way, guys. Just so you know, we got the board. We're on track now.
Minutes.
They've done the math.
Okay, there we go.
You were correct. Oh, no, she was wrong.
No, she's right.
She's right. She's wrong.
We're right.
I am right.
She's right.
We're good.
We're good. Okay.
Never question a person.
I love this.
That
So
went to an engineering school like me, even though I didn't do an engineering
I was going to say engineering school.
Virginia Tech, very good engineering
Understand, but you put yourself with engineer marketing guy?
No, I just said I went to an engineering
Oh,
school.
okay, just checking.
Yeah, walking by the building, something rubbed off on me, I guess.
I went to a smart guy school. Doesn't that mean I get to be smart?
Well, that's true. That's true.
Okay. Anyway, I do like the Tyler Reddick at plus 110. I don't dislike the Connor Zilic bet, maybe. I like it more maybe against Ross Chastain because Ross has been inconsistent lately. But the Chris Buescher plus 110, there's a couple of these I do like a lot.
No question. I think
even money. Chris Buescher's getting even money versus Ty Gibbs.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I think you can have some fun with the head-to-heads this week.
Nope, so do I. Let's get to our group matchups, and we will kick off Group A. And once again, a name we don't normally see in Group A, but there he is your favorite, Shane Van Gisbergen, plus 230. We got 255 for Byron and Reddick. And then you want to talk about enticement. Christopher Bell, plus 350 in Group A. Jeff, let me give you a couple stats on Christopher Bell. We're talking just at this track, he's got 2 top 5s in 4 races. So he's 50% in the top 5. That's a hell of a stat right off the bat to show you for there. And both of them, third and second, had a chance to win them. And you go, Christopher Bell, in the last 10 road races, 7 top 10s, 4 top 5s, a win in 10 road races. Second best average finish behind Chris Buescher.
Yeah, I love that number on Christopher Bell. Boy, I just hate who's in the group with him.
Yeah, but still.
And because I still think, to me, there is no more overwhelming favorite in this race than Shane Van Gisbergen, okay?
Okay.
But I'm not looking up there seeing plus 185 or plus 195 by Shane Van Gisbergen's name. I'm seeing plus 230. And while I agree there's great value on Christopher Bell, if you ask me, plus 230 on Shane Van Gisbergen is a value. It's about cash and tickets.
And C-Bell is look. Reddick's great here. I like Reddick a lot. 255, but 350. That's enticement right there at the bottom of this deal. I'm a big fan of that. But we're going to see a couple big numbers here as we go on. Let's get to Group B. Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, your co-favorites at 240, and Ross Chastain co-favorite 240. How about this number? 385 for Alex Bowman. Jeff, I just talked about Alex Bowman's. He's the third best point getter here. Third best point getter. Behind Ross Chastain. Okay. But not Tyler Reddick. So you have Chase Elliott, who Chase here, he's got one win, 3 races, 2 top 5s. Pretty darn good. Average finish 7. Okay, I don't dislike that. Kyle Larson, one of our better road racers. But Kyle Larson here, he's only got 1 top 5.
Well,
385?
Well, I think it kind of goes back a little bit to the same thing we talked about Christopher Bell in the previous group. I mean, plus 385 is an astronomical number, and I don't see this group as having that dominant guy. Like, to me, Shane Van Gisbergen and Tyler Reddick, I think, should be the top 2 guys in this race. So when you're taking Christopher Bell, yeah, you got to compete with those guys. But now, look, Chastain, Larson, and Elliott, I mean, they're good, but a plus 385, that's a pretty fun number on Alex Bowman.
And that's huge. And Bowman, I know I'm not going to talk about what Jeff Motley said at the start of the season about Alex Bowman. We're going to leave that alone.
I just said, who did you pick to be your disappointing winner?
It wasn't Alex Bowman.
Who'd you pick?
But it doesn't matter. It wasn't Alex Bowman. Wasn't Alex Bowman. But you tell me 9 races, 4 top 10s, 3 top 5s in the last 9 road races. This guy's got some chops on the road courses. Do you remember the race a couple years ago? Here he had it won, and him and Dinger and Ross all banged into each other on the last
Ross
2 corners.
Ended up winning, and
so I mean, he's been there. He's got this. I like Alex Bowman 385. That's too big of a return for me to pass up. I think right there.
I guess we got one of your picks.
Maybe. Let's get into Group C.
Which didn't do as well last week, by the way.
How about this for Group C? This might be the most amusing group I've ever seen in the history of Gaughan Racing. In his Cup debut, Connor Zilisch is the favorite at plus 160 to AJ Allmendinger's 325, Ty Gibbs 325, and Chris Buescher's 330.
So let me get this straight. I can take the field against Connor Zilisch.
And still end
as long as one of the 3 of them finish ahead of Connor Zilisch, I'm making money.
It's better than an even money bet.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's better than even money bet because you get plus 0.25, 0.25, or 0.33.
I mean, I think if you just want to take the don't line on Connor Zilisch right here,
you got a shot.
Wow.
But here's the deal. Let's talk about the guys we talked about. Dinger, not been as strong in recent memory, right? He has not faded. He's back in Cup. He showed up last year to do these races and wasn't the Dinger we were used to. You know, you're giving me these 3 guys right here, and the guy we talked about's been the best road racer, sneaky around. Chris Buescher is the dog at 330.
I like that. I like the Chris Buescher 330 right here in this group. I really, really do. Now, look, I think Zilisch is a great racer.
Oh, I'm not knocking Connor, but it's his first Cup race. All the pressure on a first Cup race. I've been my first Cup race. There's a lot of pressure in that.
No offense to Connor, this ain't an Xfinity race at Watkins Glen.
He's got a whole lot more field to work through than he did in that race. So that to me is absolutely wild. Way to go, Westgate, for throwing this out there. But I'm big on the dogs in this whole deal so far.
I do like Chris Buescher right here. I really do. I think that's a great matchup for him.
It's a great matchup. All right, let's get to Group D. Group D kicks off with Austin Cindric and Daniel Suarez, your co-favorites. Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch at 265. Chase Briscoe, Kyle Busch at 270. Now we get to our ho-hum. We've had all these exciting matchups so far. Everybody, huge odds, huge disparity, and we show up with 265s and 270s and throw a blanket over them. Loves Daniel Suarez, love Austin Cindric, like Kyle Busch, like Chase Briscoe. This, Jeff, we always talk about our X group.
Yeah,
you going to give me anything to separate this from being an X?
Look, if I had to pick somebody, I like Suarez here, but not enough for me to go out on a limb, I don't think, and make the pick. I've been kind of waffling on this. I guess, like we say, there's certain groups where you can make a case for all 4 guys. And this is certainly one of those cases where you could make, a case for all 4 that could win it and all 4 that could lose it.
If I'm going to give you odds, like if I'm going to give you some stats, Daniel Suarez, we talk about how good he is on road courses. It has not been here. 33rd, 24th, 27th, 31st. Okay. Bad finishes. Not how he ran. Bad finishes. Kyle Busch, actually, 3 top 10s in 4 races. Average finish 12.3. Okay. If I give you Austin Cindric, 2 top 10s in 4 races. Average finish 14. I'm starting to see a trend here. And Chase Briscoe, they had such a bad, Chase has been with kind of up and down. Chase, I can't even find him. Where is Chase at? I guess I do need my glasses.
I think when I think of Chase Briscoe, I think of the race he and Denny had at Indy on the road course at Indy, and that kind of made you realize, okay, Chase Briscoe can handle himself on a road course, and I think I think that kind of makes people realize, well, we put him up here as high as a Group D. He's in a group. One top 10 in this course, average finish, the lowest average finish of them. So to me, that puts Kyle Busch as your guy. Well, and one other thing should be brought up about Chase Briscoe, though.
Brand new team.
He is with a team that knows all about road racing because Martin Truex Jr. became a very, very accomplished road racer. They know how to set that car up.
Don't disagree. Let's get to Group E. And Group E, you kick off with a perennial road race favorite, Michael McDowell at plus 225. Ryan Blaney. Look at this Group E. Holy cow, Jeff. I just looked at that. Ryan Blaney at 230. Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano at plus 320. Isn't there a time that you used to always say that, man, anytime you can see a Denny Hamlin or a Joey Logano in Group E, I'm taking them?
Well, I might be feeling that again today.
All right.
Here's the way I break down that group. First off, the first 2 weeks, and I understand the first 2 races are completely different, but that marriage right now of Michael McDowell and his new team, they have not really, they've had issues, not just not running well. So they have had some issues. So I'm really kind of discounting him right now. Hamlin plus 320. I'm all about it.
You really think?
I really like Denny Hamlin. I like him at plus 320. I absolutely think so.
Let me see Denny Hamlin here. Let me give you a little 4 races. Guess how many top 10s?
Probably going to tell me 0 or something.
That's right.
Okay, guess what? He's due.
Average finish of 15.5. He is 14, 18, 16, and 14. The good news is he's consistent. All right, now this is the right time this time. We're going to go out, and we'll be back in a couple minutes when we return on Gaughan Racing with our final group and our picks.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show. Every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Two Utes on a 2-box, and we're back. Jeff, Motley, Brendan Gaughan. Final segment here at Gaughan Racing. For those of you that are joining us on the fabulous South Point Studio and Gaughan Racing YouTube channel, you get to see our pretty faces. For those that aren't, we're on Sirius XM. Jeff, we're on our last segment here, and we got our last group, Group F, to get to at COTA. And Group F kicks off with a familiar name who's been pretty stellar lately. Carson Hocevar plus 230, Zane Smith 260, Justin Haley, and Todd Gilliland at 295. All right. I said I didn't like the Kyle Busch group earlier because it was an X. They're too easy, but I at least kind of gave a favorite there with Kyle Busch. This one, very difficult to give a favorite. The only thing I can say is if you're talking Big Mo, and you know I am a big believer in Big Mo, Carson Hocevar plus 230. Only favorite I like.
And that's kind of where I'm leaning here on this one too, is I'm riding the hot hand, and Hocevar is the hot hand. You know, Gilliland showed me a little bit back when he was in the truck series. You know, he had some pretty good runs on road courses in the truck series. I mentioned Justin Haley. Zane's accomplished racer, but I believe in the hot hand. I do believe in the momentum, especially right now. And I know that's a completely different kind of racetrack, but Hocevar has kind of shown himself pretty much any track he goes to, he can handle himself pretty well. So I like the favorite here.
Look, for the last, year and a half, a little over a year now, we have been very impressed with this young man. He has shown up when we did not expect much out of him and done well. And it's hard for me to just bet against him just because, we don't have much stats on him. He's just been showing up everywhere he goes to play.
I am afraid that because several drivers, be it right or wrong, had their run-ins with him last week at Atlanta. That nobody's going to cut him any slack this week. By the way, Ryan McGee, who's on ESPN, he actually had put the funniest meme that I'd ever seen up. I remember the scene from Airplane when the person is sitting in the seat and everybody comes by and slaps him in the face. Yeah. He put that meme up. He said, Carson Hocevar over the road at Atlanta. Yeah. And I really felt bad because honestly, I thought the only driver who had a legitimate beef was Ryan Blaney. So
Kyle Busch would take homage with that.
Well, maybe Kyle a little bit. But Ross Chastain, I'm sorry. Hocevar is just trying to win the race.
I don't disagree.
That's all I'm saying.
Let's get to our manufacturer prop. This might be the most lopsided manufacturer prop I've ever seen us have. Toyota is plus 275. Okay. Sounds about normal, right? Mm-hmm. Chevrolet is minus 230 and Ford is plus 600. Is that enough? Is there enough cheese there for you to?
Well, I'll tell you where the cheese to me is the one in the middle. I get to go into this race and let's say, well, I've got Christopher Bell and I've got Tyler Reddick at plus 275. I like having that. Now, the plus 600 on Ford, really, I'm looking at Chris Buescher, maybe Austin Cindric. I'm not sure about Blaney or Logano. Plus 600. I like the fact that there's two.
But it's plus 600.
I understand. But guess what? I also want to win. And I'm just saying, I love if you're going to get something with value, I love the Toyota plus 275 because I think Reddick and Bell, to me, I would put them maybe the second and third favorites to win this race. And I think they're both in Toyotas.
I don't disagree.
I like that.
I don't disagree. But still plus 600. It's a three-man horse race.
I get it.
And there's more Fords than Toyotas out there.
Pick it. Put your money where your mouth is. Pick it. Mr. Last Place.
Oh.
Hey, I have not been able to say that for quite some time.
Let me straighten up here.
And I need to bask in this week because it could all come tumbling down in a second this week.
We will touch very briefly on the championship odds. Christopher Bell is now your favorite for the championship. He's plus 400. We think he was like 800 last week or something. Not a big mover. Still early odds, guys. This is called future bets. Why you do futures, you try to hedge for later in the season. A lot of good odds. A lot of people left at high numbers. Take a peek at them. We're not going to talk much about them because we need to get into some people, especially this week, would like to spend some time discussing Atlanta's wins.
And as excited as I am to do that, I kind of want to point out right now that Shane Van Gisbergen, who's the favorite to win this race, he's in the field right now for the championship. So now wouldn't be a bad time if you want to throw something out there. Just saying.
Sure.
So anyway, yes, I do want to talk about last week.
One road race ace doesn't make a championship.
No, but there's road racing in the playoffs too.
There is.
I'm just saying. But last week.
Last week,
pretty happy about last week.
We will kick off with the winner of last week, the guy who he showed up to play last week. Jeff Motley, winner of 4 units. He is now on the season 6.8. He got Blaney in Group A, Chastain in Group B.
And crushed to lose Byron, who was running third when he not only running third, but looking like he might have been the car to beat.
Byron to win, by the way, Jeff had him at 20-1, so that was a very good pick. Me, I was sitting there watching that race going, Byron, top 3. I was with Jeff. I was rooting for that. And, other than that, I didn't have a whole lot of prayers in Vegas.
Well, no, but you also had Cindric to win his group, and Cindric was running second when he and Byron crashed out. And honestly, I think it was really more Larson's fault.
So, I mean, I did have a Cindric chance there. Even Suarez, before he wrecked out, was actually looking good for a minute. So I had some good days. It was going bad. I did get the Busch versus Logano, so I at least was able to salvage some points, and I'm not negative. I'm plus 1.55 on the season, a long way from my personal Mendoza line, which we all know is 100 because I kick everybody's butt every year. And the pit crew got a Chase Elliott Group C win out of it. They had a plus 395 day, so good job for the pit crew. Minus 0.4 for the day. But because they've had a strong start, they are 395 units on the season, which means, Jeff, you have a commanding lead early.
That commanding lead could go away.
I just got to brag for you. I got to brag 90% of last season. I got to give some love.
I could end up like Denny Hamlin on the last lap at Daytona, too.
I'm just trying to give love. Trying to be, listen, pit crew, they are plus 3.95 on the season. You're plus 6.8. You're almost doubled of us.
Well, let's keep it going.
When I was 100 units and you guys were at 10 and 12, I mean, I'm just saying I was a little more than doubled. But
I'm not going to get cocky.
I will. It's okay.
I know you would.
And I'm plus 1.55 on the season. So if you're betting with us, you still have a lot of places to make some money. We've been doing it.
And guess what that means? It's pick time.
No, what does that mean, Jeff? Go ahead. Go ahead,
means
please.
You
please
get to pick first, and I get to pick last.
And why do I get to pick first?
Because you're in last.
Oh, that's right. That's what we do. Just enjoy it.
The old worst.
I got the laughing crew behind the pit crew behind the glass.
Worst is first.
I will get my sheet of paper out, and I will. See, that way, that at least works on Sirius. You can hear
you can hear the paper rattling.
Yes. So I am going to be.
Or is that the hamster on the wheel running around?
That's just my brain. All right, I'm going to kick off with one head-to-head. I'm doing no top threes today. I am going with a head-to-head off the bat. The Chris Buescher versus AJ Allmendinger. Chris is getting me plus 110. Chris has just been so strong, so consistent. Dinger, phenomenal road racer, but inconsistent, riding the wave. I love Chris Buescher. He cashes tickets. Now, I'm going to do something I don't think I've ever done on the show. I've got all group matchups and an asterisk on the last one still. I'm not determined. I do have Ford written here, but I have not made my picks. Reddick in Group A. I'm not going with the dog, Christopher Bell. I think Reddick at 255. I do like that. I'm going dog in Group B. Alex Bowman. That's too much low-hanging fruit for me. I'm going the man that cashes our tickets, Chris Buescher in Group C. Do I go Ford? Nope. Kyle Busch, Group D. I am A, B, C, D.
And if you had taken, what you really also should have done is in A, you should have taken Byron or Bell, and then every one of your picks would have been with a B. It would have been the killer bees for Brendan.
Okay.
Just pointing that out.
I will.
There's a lot of guys with last names B in this series. Now we don't even have Burtons anymore.
Deep Thoughts by Jeff Motley.
And we don't have any Burtons
Ross
or
McNuggets.
No Burtons or Bodines either.
It's our first Earl Ross McNugget of the season by Jeff Motley.
Lots of Bs, and there's still no Burtons or Bodines.
Or Brendans.
Or Brendans, well.
Or Brennan. Or Brent. Remember the year that we had Brennan Jones, or Brandon Jones, Brennan. What was Brennan's last name? I forget.
Brennan Poole?
Brennan Poole.
Yeah.
And Brendan Gaughan. That was tough for old Rick Allen to do. Let's get to the pit crew picks. They are going one head-to-head, the Byron versus Van Giesbergen at 110. They are going Shane Van Giesbergen. Wait, why do I have that twice? Where's the thing? Look, you read the thing because it's showing up weird on mine. Oh, Reddick versus Van Giesbergen is the other one. Oh, gotcha. They're Reddick versus Thank you, Ann, behind the glass. Thank you, Ann. Plus 110. Reddick is Group A at plus 255. We're on the same one there. Chastain top 3 at plus 400. I don't dislike that. And Bell top 3 at plus 330. I don't dislike that either.
No, good picks. Good picks for everybody.
I like those picks. I actually, sadly, I like all their picks today.
Yeah, I think you and I are going to agree on one. And
we're not jinxing Reddick, are we?
No,
Okay,
we're not. Okay, so I'm gonna look. I'm riding the favorite in Group A. I'm going SVG.
Okay.
I like plus 230. I think that's still a good enough number for SVG. Then I'm going to go Group C, and I am going with Buescher. So I agree with you on Buescher there in Group C. Then Group E, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Denny Hamlin. I like Denny Hamlin there, Group. And then I said I was going to ride the hot hand. I'm going into Group F. I'm taking Carson Hocevar at plus 230. And look, I talked up my Toyotas. I'm going to stick with him. Plus 275 on a Toyota because I like having Bell and Reddick going against what I think is mainly Shane Van Gisbergen and maybe Chase Elliott and AJ Allmendinger.
All right. Well, so say us at Gaughan Racing. You folks chime in. You know, you always can write little messages on the YouTube thing. I know that the guys behind the glass always monitor those, and you can always call in like Dave Moody and stuff like that. And tell
good
them that,
for one or two people asking us something.
Asking something. My Yulo was he looks a little tired today. He was probably not manning the YouTube stream quite as manly as he normally does. Sorry, we're having fun here, guys. This has been the most unique start of the season, Jeff, ever. Daytona to a super speedway Atlanta to a road course at Coda. Kind of a cool start.
Then we get to go mile track. Then we get a couple of mile and a halves. Then we go back to the smallest track on the circuit.
We come back
Great
West
start.
Coast racing. So fun start to the season. No surprise winners, but some great racing.
Has been great racing, and I think I don't know if it's going to be a surprise winner, but I think we could get a winner this week that is not someone that's really high up in the rankings to win the championship.
I don't disagree. So that's it for today's show. We appreciate you guys hanging in and talking with us and betting with us. Hopefully we're cashing you some tickets. We'll see you guys next week when we break this one down and go to everything at Phoenix. Thank you very much for reminding me.